Question 16. If x is greater than 0, what is one possible solution to the equation above? Let's write out this equation. Now let's start simplifying this by distributing the x cubed to both terms. Now let's move this 4x, negative 4x to the other side of the equation, so then we can eventually think about factoring or using something like quadratic formula to solve. Now we can factor out an x since it's common to all these terms. And now we're left with these two scenarios. We can ignore the scenario where x itself equals 0 because the problem tells us that x is solely greater than 0, not greater than or equal to 0. Let's look at this inside expression. While it may look like it's unfactorable, we can actually use a trick called u substitution to make it easier to visualize and factor. So in this case, let's let u equal to x squared. Now what will result in when we substitute u is we'll get a degree 2 polynomial, which is what we're used to factoring. We'll turn this x squared in the negative 5x squared to a negative 5u, and then the 4 stays the same. Now this looks much more friendlier and much more capable to factor, so let's go ahead and do that. What multiplies to 4 and adds to negative 5? Well, that's just negative 4 and 1. Now let's split this up into two scenarios, one where u minus 4 equals 0 and one where u minus 1 equals to 0. Now let's isolate the u's, and then don't forget that we need to actually plug in our original variable, which is x squared, back in for u. Now finally, to solve, let's take the square root of both of these scenarios to get that x equals to plus or minus 2 and x is plus or minus 1. Now we can ignore the negative solutions because again it asks us for something that is greater than 0, and we're left with 2 or 1. Now it only asks for one possible solution, so when you're answering this on the real test, just bubble in 2 or 1, either one is correct.